Here at Just Criminal Law, we have hundreds and hundreds of positive client reviews. And today we're going to talk about why that's so important. This is Christina Williams with Just Criminal Law.
And David Mann, legal storytelling specialist. Well, yes, we're living in a world where reviews are everything. So why are these reviews so important for hiring a lawyer?
Well, sure. I mean, it translates over from I always read the reviews on a product before I buy it online. In fact, I even will read the reviews if I'm at a store. I'll get on the app and, if I'm looking at buying something, I'll look at the reviews. I think reviews just are completely transparent. They let the consumer or the potential client know, what are the positive things that everybody's saying about this law firm. And, sometimes there are bad reviews on a particular law firm. And so, it's just more information is always better when you're making that decision to hire an attorney, especially when it comes to something so important like criminal defense.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna find out whether other people have trusted this lawyer. You're going to find out experiences that they've had. So what are some of the, the things that you might draw a conclusion from if you look for a lawyer and you find there aren't any reviews?
Well, if there aren't any reviews, then what I would always do is ask them, if you can speak with maybe some of their former clients, if you really wanted to dig in before hiring them. But if there aren't reviews, then you kind of have to wonder, are the clients having a mixed experience? Are the attorneys maybe not doing what they said they would do? Was there poor communication during the lifetime of the case with the client? So, if they don't ask for a client review, it may be because they're afraid of what the client might say. So, that's always a red flag. If you can't see what other people's experience have been, then you wonder, why is that law firm not being so transparent?
Yeah, and transparency would be important, and honesty. So what if you find a lawyer has just as many good reviews as they have bad reviews?
Well, then you wonder about the consistency of their service, or do they always have a support team, backing them up so that they can deliver the services that they've been hired to deliver. And mixed reviews, you're just going to wonder about communication. Maybe, do they have enough experience? Are they really fighting for their clients? And another thing that you should always pay attention to is, how do they respond to those bad reviews? Is it always the client's fault, that they had a bad experience? Can the attorney never take responsibility or take away from the bad review maybe some constructive criticism on how they can do better? So it is interesting when there's bad reviews that equal the good reviews. I would be really cautious, I guess, in hiring that law firm.
And regarding the response that the lawyer gives, I mean, that's a lot of information. When I work with lawyers on, developing stories for court, if it's a defense case, I will a lot of times say, we got to make sure we don't come across as defensive. I mean, you want to have a strong defense, but you don't want the personality of defensiveness to come across. And that's, if a lawyer's being defensive in their reviews, you go, oh, that's kind of a red flag, right?
Right. It's a red flag, and it shows a pattern. If, they're that disagreeable with the client that left the bad review and they're willing to put it out there, for everybody in the world to read, how are they treating their clients behind closed doors, the ones that don't leave the reviews? It's really a red flag.
Yeah, and when you see that they respond sometimes to a bad review, but they have a really really fair tone in the way that they write that review back, a professional tone, you can tell a lot from that too, wouldn't you say?
Right. I mean, it is really hard to keep all of your clients happy. And, you are going to occasionally have a bad review. And sometimes the review is really one-sided. That is, they didn't tell the whole story by any means in the review. And so it's really important that the attorney be mindful in how they respond. It's okay for the attorney to, give a counterpoint, but then it's important for them to say, I understand your frustration, and, please reach out to us. We would be glad to, try to resolve this.
Yeah, right. So you have, I would assume, far more good reviews than those type. What do people generally say about Just Criminal Law?
Well, they always compliment the team and being informed and the communication that occurred, and they are always commenting on their result. They're happy with their result, and they're happy with the process. And then, most importantly, they say if they ever need us again, they would absolutely hire us. So, that's the greatest review you can possibly ask for, is they'll come back if they need us again because the experience was positive.
Well, I'm sure people watching this video can run right over to Google and read some of these for themselves. How might they get in touch with you if they want to enlist you for their case?
Sure, we will include a link in the description where they can call, text, or chat with a member of my team anytime, day or night. Here at Just Criminal Law, we know you only get one shot at justice, so make yours count.